of one. Today, I am going to be speaking with Taylor, who is from the Philadelphia Sheriff's Department. She found an amazing way to honor women in law enforcement, and she does an amazing job. Beauty, brains, and badges. Welcome to the show, Taylor. Sergeant Taylor, please tell me about your history in law enforcement.
Sure. First, before I get into that, I just want to thank you for allowing me to be on this platform. I'm super excited to be here. To answer your question, I have been in law enforcement now for 8.5 years.
And was it with the Sheriff's Department the whole time?
Yes. So I'm currently with the Philadelphia Sheriff's Office. I've been there for 8.5 years, and I started off as an officer. I had got promoted to the rank of detective, and currently I'm a sergeant, and also currently number 3 on a lieutenant's exam. So I'm super excited about that.
Okay, that's awesome. So tell me about your sisters in law enforcement. Do you have like a tight bond? Is it a lot of females at the Sheriff's Department?
So, there are a few. Compared to other agencies, we do have a few. But I will say that the ladies that I call my sisters are women who are very diverse in like age, background, religion, and most importantly, I consider them my family. So I've been grateful enough to meet tons of women and building very, very strong bonds with them. And these women, when I say they have my back 100%. And it's also good to mention that, in law enforcement, there's always this stigma surrounding women in law enforcement because what they say is women can't seem to get along. The women that I have in my life, oh my God, like you could not even pit them in that narrative. So again, the sisters that I've met are literally that, they're sisters.
That's awesome. That is awesome. And working with so many amazing women, your sisters in law enforcement, tell me what idea did you have to give back some of the love that they extended to you?
So the funny thing is, when I first started law enforcement, I kind of quickly got this name of Princess. So I don't know if that was like my charming personality, or was it the fact that I always carried a lip gloss with me, the same lip gloss that I had in my pocket. So I kind of became like infamous for just having this lip gloss in my pocket. And right after I started my own LLC, which is called Law Enforcement Apparel, I was just kind of trying to brainstorm on ideas of getting a bunch of women together. And I was just sitting there one day with my lip gloss and I said, oh my God, beauty, brains, and badges. And the idea was to have a bunch of amazing, beautiful, yet intelligent women in law enforcement come together. And the idea was small at the time because I had just started. So I think the first brunch, I only had about 60 people in mind. My first brunch, I definitely doubled that. So it definitely exceeded all my expectations.
Okay, so you started beauty, brains, and badges, and you started a brunch, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
When was your first brunch?
My first brunch was in I believe it was 2016.
Okay, so that was a while ago. So
yes.
Was it hard finding a venue? Did you honor some women? How did you pick? Did you have speakers? Tell me about the event.
So the brunch, first of all, it's a lot of preparation just to put the brunch together. So for the first brunch, I found a venue in West Philly. I reached out to them. Again, it was supposed to be a small event, but again, the numbers doubled. So at that time, the tables, the chairs, everywhere you went in the room, it was completely filled. But there is this process of kind of like going and finding different venues, looking for a caterer, because it is an amazing brunch that's served. Not to mention, we do offer unlimited mimosas, which to me is like the highlight of the brunch. I'm also trying to reach out for vendors. So we have a variety of vendors. I know this past year we had a firearm vendor come out. We had someone selling cigars because ladies also love cigars. We had makeup vendors. So we just really had a variety of vendors. Additionally, we tried to reach out for different, not just vendors, but for donations or any type of contribution. So we also reach around to local businesses to try to partner up with them. And lastly, we also reach out to get guest speakers to come in. So we have some amazing guest speakers who are within law enforcement or within the law enforcement family, and they come out and they really speak some encouraging words, and everyone really leaves the room filled with their cup completely filled.
That's awesome. So now, did you foot any of the cost? Or you said that you had sponsors and did you sell tickets, or did a lot of it come out of your pocket?
So people don't realize the amount of not just effort and time that goes into this, but also the amount of money. So this year we were grateful enough. We had a couple donations. We also had somebody sponsor a few tickets. So we typically sell tickets, and the tickets are $25 per person. That includes your entry, that includes the live entertainment. We also do massages for the women on site, free makeup applications as well. But most of the time, the money comes directly out of my pocket. So whatever is not covered from the ticket sales, I front everything else. So like I said, we were grateful this year to be able to have some people kind of step up and say, hey, I want to be a part of this amazing event. But other than that, outside of like my close friends who come in and give that extra support, because donations aren't necessarily always about money. So we do get people to come in and volunteer, whether that's helping to set up or clean up, serve the women, whatever that may look like, people do make contributions that way as well.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Now, are you going to, so with Beauty, Brains, and Badges, is it an official agency, nonprofit, or tell me about Beauty, Brains, and Badges and what you think the future is?
So actually, the business that I created was Law Enforcement Apparel LLC. And that apparel line, it was actually a way for women in law enforcement to kind of embrace the law enforcement culture through fashion. The other component of it was to bridge the gap between law enforcement and the community. Beauty, Brains, and Badges, like I said, was just kind of like this aha moment. Let's find a way to get women together. So I always kind of branch it underneath the LLC itself. The Beauty, Brains, and Badges brunch will continue to have that every year. That's like when you think Beauty, Brains, and Badges, people know, oh, that's Taylor, that's her event. So I'm definitely keeping Beauty, Brains, and Badges, and we typically host that for Women's History Month. What I'm trying to do, however, is actually transition my LLC into a nonprofit. And just to kind of touch base on the nonprofit without giving you too much. So the nonprofit was introduced, or the idea of a nonprofit was introduced after I lost one of my best friends to suicide back in 2019. His name was Dante Austin. He was also a law enforcement officer here in the city of Philadelphia. And once I kind of lost him, it was like I started focusing more on kind of advocating and educating for mental health in the law enforcement community. Hence how we started to try to transition into the nonprofit. So the hopes is to be able to get the nonprofit, which main focus is going to be raising awareness about mental health in the law enforcement community. By doing that, we're hoping to put some restoration into mental health through the mind, body, and soul. So everything I do now is really solely in honor of him and trying to make it so that we don't lose another life to suicide, especially in law enforcement. Because when we think about mental health, we don't really talk about mental health in law enforcement, and it's really, really a huge issue. So again, a lot of my time lately, since 2019, has been just like getting the word out there, getting his name out there so people can know who he was, what it was that he did for the community, and still how his name still comes about till this day, just based on all the good work that he did.
That is awesome. And being in victim services for over 7 years, well, starting out doing fundraising for my mom because she was the previous executive director for Northwest Victim Services. So, but not really understanding it in the 80s. I was just having fun in the 80s. And then I fell in love with helping others about 7-8 years ago. It's heavy. And even with me not being that first line of defense, you know what I'm saying? Like the law enforcement, you're called to the scene of the crime. But even with me speaking with these mothers and fathers and co-homicide survivors hours after a homicide or shooting, it's very devastating too. Victim advocates. So I can only imagine what law enforcement goes through, thinking about sheriff's department, the police officers, the fire department, what you guys go through. And I know mental health is huge. Now, will you have a mental health component when you're having this awesome annual brunch for the Beauty, Brains, and Badges? And for the viewers, that was the best event that I have ever been through. There was a live singer. When I say she's playing off the 80s, the night she was tearing it up. Absolutely. And then we were able to get on a dance floor and we just danced. The women just danced. I had so much fun. No worries. You know what I mean? There was nothing on my mind that was stressing me out. I was among beautiful, Black, educated women who cared about each other, and it was just awesome. So will you add a mental health component to your brunch or to any other events that you have?
So not necessarily towards the brunch, but I will say that when you come to the brunch, let's say you're having a bad day. Once you get to my brunch, you won't leave feeling the same way. So I feel like it's already added. But the mental health component is going to be something completely separate. And once I kind of transition into the nonprofit, you'll have just that nonprofit, and then you'll have the brunch. So you won't even have the LLC component of it anymore, as I'm trying to be completely done with that. So my focus can be solely on the mental health, which is far more important than anything. So I did create a couple initiatives. The first one is called Breathe, Stretch, Shake, and Mental Health. And that is a mindfulness initiative. And again, it's raising awareness about mental health and law enforcement. What it is once a month, I host typically it's in person, but it's an in-person 2-hour session. It's a group session. The first hour is just an open dialogue about mental health. And there's no set agenda with that. So like you may say something that somebody else may agree with, and now the conversation is about that. So I try to leave it to whereas, we'll kind of jump in and change the direction if we need to, but it's really free flowing so people can get a chance to speak. And then the last part of that is decompressing, and we decompress through stress. So as we move on to the nonprofit, I'm hoping to have that initiative kind of fall under that. And then we'll also expand on other decompressing activities such as boxing, walking, dancing, because dancing is really a form of self-care. So we'll kind of include all of that. I also have done, each September is Suicide Awareness Month. So what I try to do is I try to do a fundraiser. So last year we donated to the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, as well as Blue Help, which is an organization that solely focuses on suicides and law enforcement. And we had a Cigars for a Cause, and the cause was suicide, which was really, really a great event. So each year we really just do something different in order to raise money for that particular cause.
Going back to your friend, with the sheriff's department, and going back to what you just said, self-care, is there therapists available for the officers for them to be able to have free therapy sessions? And is that something that you may look to incorporate?
So for most of the law enforcement organizations, they should have an employee assistance program. So with that employee assistance program, you can kind of contact them and they can refer you to different therapeutic services. I know for me, when Austin passed, the incident happened on a Friday, and by Wednesday, I was already in therapy. I've also been grateful to have people who I can call within the law enforcement health benefits program, and they're also able to kind of refer you out. And I try to keep just good contact with them, because whenever I need them, they have essentially been there for me. And then one of the reasons why I kind of started the Breathe, Stretch, Shake and mental health was because I know that I needed something to help me along the way. I think it's important to realize that grief has no expiration date. So, some days I find myself, hey, and then other days I'm just like, oh God, but you never know when it's going to hit. It's always unexpected. So I am currently, I can't say much about it right now, but I am working with a proposal in hopes that they would take this on and that it would benefit other law enforcement agencies. So that's what I'm hoping the outcome is. Fingers crossed, everyone out there kind of wish me luck, and we'll see what happens moving forward.
So with the beauty braids and badges, and you said, I know you can't go into too much.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think you will expand it outside of Philly?
Absolutely. I want to go everywhere. I want this event to be worldwide. I'm already looking into Maryland, DC, New York, New Jersey, kind of the surrounding counties for right now. But my plans exist way beyond just that. I think I've kind of built the platform here in Philadelphia, so I don't want to take away from Philly. So if I have to add maybe another brunch within that month, but then another city, I'm all for it.
And I think it will be amazing. So tell me how you pick your speakers, because when I was fortunate enough, when you allowed me to speak during the 4th annual brunch, I was in awe with those amazing, amazing women who were selected to speak. And I'm saying to myself, oh my goodness, I'm among these amazing women. How do you select your speakers for your brunch?
So typically I've met a lot of those women just kind of through networking. And I always say that networking is very, very important. You may know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody that is the right fit for the brunch. For this year's brunch, we had Chief Norma Hardy. She's from Battleboro, Vermont. She's the chief there. We had a Squire Jennifer Santiago, who's an attorney here in Philadelphia. We had Sergeant Stevens, who was the first Black female sergeant for Upper Darby. And here we are in 2022 saying the first Black anything, first Black woman, whatever. We also had yourself, and you came in, and when I say everybody, she rocked the house. She made women there feel encouraged. She motivated women. And I received just like so many compliments on so many amazing speakers that I had. And then last but not least, we had firefighter Denise Stowe. I actually met her at a women's conference a couple of years ago. And she was the first daughter-father duo who are actively serving at the same time with the Philadelphia Fire Department. So it's just a bunch of women who are out here creating legacies and leaving names for themselves. So that's pretty much how it goes. I see you, you see me. It's kind of one of those things, and we get you in there, and we want the women to leave and feel empowered. And you ladies did just that. So thank you again for coming out and being a part of that.
Yeah, it was amazing, and I can say that it was awesome. And then to be in a room, and like you said, like not only in the sheriff's department, but that's the culture, and not the culture, but what people always think is that we can't love on one another, like from one sister to another, that I'm going to be jealous of you. And that's not the case. And I said that, listen, you are amazing. And I want to learn from you because you're going to help me grow. I'm not intimidated. I want you to help me grow. And it would be unbelievable if all of our sisters would come together, the amazing things that we can do. And like you said, we're doing amazing things. And I thank you for highlighting the women that you do, you know what I mean? And for the firefighter, forgot her name, I'm horrible with names, but I'm a mommy and daddy's girl. I brought mommy with me because it was a female event. But when I tell you I'm a daddy's girl, I'm a daddy's girl. So to be able to interact with her and the other three powerful women was just amazing. The food and
the caterer. So the caterer, that she's actually from Philly as well, and her name is she owns Boomer's Catering. Boomer's K Catering. So she's located in Philadelphia, and we've been using her for the past 2 years, and she serves every single time. She does not disappoint.
Wow, that was awesome. That was awesome. So we're gonna look for the 5th annual Beauty, Brains, and Badges. We'll stay tuned to see if it's going to be in Philly or if I have to fire up my Bentley and get in. Okay, so I drive a Ford Edge, but it's my Bentley. I have to fire up my car and come and find you. So that I will definitely do. So Taylor, how can all the viewers stay in contact with you to see the amazing things that you have going on?
So you can follow me on my social media link, which is going to be law_enforcement_apparel. And then I'll make sure to leave my email so that we can kind of post it in the link so that you guys can have it. And then just look out for me on the TV, on the newspaper, on billboards. You never know where you'll find me at next. So that's the one thing about me.
Well, you can give your email out to the viewers if you like.
Sure. So my email is going to be B as in boy, T as in Tom, 5010@gmail.com.
Okay. Now, I'm sure there will be a lot of law enforcement sisters who are watching this show. What would you say the requirements are for someone to nominate someone to speak?
So to speak, it would be simple. You would just send me an email. And we typically kind of, I guess, look for our own speakers essentially, but women who have attended our brunch who know other women who would be amazing for this event, they kind of reach out to me and say, hey, I have this woman and she's phenomenal. She needs to be here. And I reach out to that individual and I kind of tell them what the brunch is about. We inform them of the date, and then they just show up for a good time. So the requirements, tell a friend to tell a friend.
That's awesome. And I want to personally thank my cousin, Nicole Johnson, AKA Nikki walker before she got here. She is awesome and she is dynamic and she encourages me. And she gives me the support and has always given me the support. And I know it's genuine and I know it's from the heart. And for that, Nikki, I thank you and I love you. Taylor, thank you so much for allowing me to be in your circle. I am with you. Any way that I can support you, you let me know. And anything you need from me, let me know. And I will be more than happy to help you. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining me today. Please know and understand the people who are fighting to protect us, the people who are protecting us, go through a lot daily. They see a lot daily. Please offer words of encouragement, offer extended hugs to those in law enforcement all over Philadelphia, all over the Commonwealth of PA, and all over the world. We appreciate you and we thank you for the work that you're doing. Peace and love.